what's going on? What's happening? It dawned on me the other day. You know what I'm saying? Some people, not all, I know some of you all may wonder why I'm so hard, like I go so hard in the paint, pause, for black people. Why am I so hard pressed? You know what I'm saying? Why do I make these videos? Why does it seem like whenever I talk about black people, I appear to be angry, disappointed, disgusted? You know what I'm saying? And I can give you a simple answer, for real. This is real talk. I'm old enough to know when black people conducted themselves a certain kind of way. I'm old enough to know when black people had morals and principles, values and stuff like that. And to see where our race is right now, it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And I don't mean to sound like, one of these old heads, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny, man. No, seriously, when you get older, when you get get to be my age, you're gonna say the same thing. If you all make it, this generation makes it to see 10, 20 years down the line, you're gonna feel and think the same way that I'm thinking. Straight up. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because when I was young, the older folks said the same thing. I remember when, black people didn't shoot and kill each other and do this, that, and so forth. And I looked at them strange, like, yeah, whatever, get out of here. But it's the truth. Every generation has gotten worse. Straight up. Like, seriously, like back in the days, you could go over your next door neighbor's house that was black and ask for sugar if you didn't have any sugar or flour or something like that, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. It wouldn't have been, back in the days, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Nowadays, I'm reluctant to go to my next door neighbor across the street or right beside me, on the left, on the right, behind me or whatever. I'm very reluctant to ask them for anything. Back in the days, you used to could go to, confide in one of your a black friend or a family member, and they won't tell your business. Straight up. You could spill the beans. Say, for example, if you was going through some things with your girlfriend or your boyfriend and your girlfriend cheated on you, whatever have you. You had a sincere friend or a sincere cousin, or a member of the family, you know what I'm saying? A family member that you can confide in and tell your business and know that your business won't be thrown, over here, over there. Nowadays, please, you be lucky if any of your information, personal information that you tell anyone, won't be thrown up on Instagram, YouTube, any social media. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy to me. And I know what some of you all are gonna say. Y'all gonna make excuses and say, man, it was due to the internet that made, us turn out to be the way that we are, and this and that and so forth. Let me tell you something. Can nobody stop you from being you but you? That's real talk. And it gets to the point where, like, seriously, we have to put the blame on ourselves. I remember, when black people used to stick together. I remember being around with my boys and knowing that, if I had a problem with anybody, they had my back. I remember the cookouts. I remember the family reunions. I remember the Thanksgivings. I remember the Christmas dinners. The love that we used to have. You know what I'm saying? We used to sit around in Christmas dinner, right after Christmas dinner, and we used to look at Bill the Cosby Show in a different world. Don't let me get on TV programs, TV shows. I remember the Family Matters and Bill Cosby Show, A Different World. The list goes on. A Good Value, Amen, 227. I remember those shows where they showed black people in a positive light. Nowadays, all we got is motherfucking Love and Hip Hop. All these reality shows. I remember the music. I remember that they were actually love songs. Let me tell you something. This is my word. I was a stone cold hip hopper back in the days. But when my female friends would come over, and it was time to, spend some time with them, man, I throw on some R&B, some Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Troop, Aaron Hall, R. Kelly. The list goes on. Faith Evans, 112. These were R&B singers that could really sing. Well, Mary J. Blige is a little debatable. But for the most part, they had great songs. And these artists put out good music. You know what I'm saying? And then, like our generation, you know what I'm saying? We was coming up, we listened to everything. We didn't call our elders, and that's another thing too. We didn't disrespect our elders like you respect the elders that your elders now. You know what I'm saying? So we were listening to, we were brought up, listening to that Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, Barry White. So shit, I have a CD disc changer and I shuffle that shit up. So you come on over my house, you're a female friend. You know what I'm saying? You come over my house, you might get Mary, you might get Luther, you might get Aretha. We listen to that. Patti LaBelle, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, man, it was just, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that there wasn't no violence. I'm not saying there wasn't no the Reagan era, you know what I'm saying? Where crack really destroyed our communities. I'm not saying that things were all perfect back in the 80s and the 90s. I say 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you, you know what I'm saying? I at least lived through the 80s and 90s. I was old enough to let you all know right now that there was a big difference between the past, the 80s and the 90s, and the 2000s. I can tell you that. Guaranteed. Especially in the South. In the South, it used to be where you could leave your doors to your car open, unlock your windows down, all of that. I used to come here before I moved here. I used to come down here for the summers. And my grandmother used to leave the screen door open. I used to go to sleep hearing crickets. Cricket, cricket, cricket. Even the South has changed. New York as well. Man, it wasn't nothing but New York. Man, shit. New York summers? Please. It broke my heart to see what they're doing to Jamaica Ave. The Coliseum. That shit broke my fucking heart. I got memories there. Memories. Going to get a beef patty, then going to the Coliseum, you know what I'm saying, and playing. At that time, I don't know how far y'all can go back, but they had an arcade in there. Taking pictures at Gertz Mall. Straight up. Get my Timbs at Modell's. I could go on with these stories. I could go on with it, but now y'all don't got shit. I feel sorry for this generation, man. I feel sorry for this generation. Because you all don't have you all didn't have the opportunity to see magic. Cause that's what it felt like, man. I go back, oftentimes I reminisce and I think about like when I was living through the 90s, it didn't seem like it was anything. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem magical. It just felt normal. But when I reflect back now, as being a mature adult, I'm like, yo, man, I wish I would have just sat down at that time to just think about what we were actually experiencing. But we didn't know it was going to get like this. We didn't know it was going to be like this. No idea. But the movies that came out, the rap songs that came out, the summer themes, you know what I'm saying? Being outside, whether you was in the north or in the south in the summers, you hear these rap songs and shit. I was in New York when they, another freak of the week, man. It's crazy, man. crazy. Y'all can't experience that shit. I was alive. I was a teenager going into being a young adult when Tupac came out. I remember going to see Juice. I remember going to see New Jack City. I remember going to see Do the Right Thing. I remember wearing the cross colors, the Carca Nines. I remember when Public Enemy came out with Fight the Power. And in high school, everybody was wearing the medallions, the African medallions. I remember when A Different World and shows like A Different World, protested against apartheid. Had a show about it. I remember when they freed Nelson Mandela. It's a lot of shit. It was a lot of shit that went on in the 90s when I was coming up. And it was like, it was just historical. But when you young and you going through it, you don't think too much. You think this shit gonna last forever. I remember the college parties. Straight up. The college parties was off the hook. I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is my word. I used to live in Durham, North Carolina. I'm gonna tell you who used to throw the bangingest college parties. This is my word, I'm not even lying. It's the whitest of the whitest fucking college that you could ever think of. But them, it was the I don't know what they call it, the black. They had like a black council, some shit like that threw them. It was just like a small group of blacks that went to that college. You know what I'm saying? Duke used to have the bangingest fucking college parties. Man, fucking North Carolina A&T homecomings. Oh man, I could go on with this bike. What is it? The bike week or whatever that shit is in Myrtle Beach. Come on, man. I could go on with it. The different events that black people had. All up and down the East Coast. And yes, true indeed, some things got out of hand, while most of the time it didn't. Straight up. And I can tell you, like a lot of times motherfuckers be having guns. For real, if you was in the hood and motherfuckers had guns and shit like that, I'm not saying this happened all the time, but some of the times motherfuckers be like, yo, put the guns down, duke it out. You shoot you know what I'm saying? You shoot the fair one with the dude, and y'all be about your way. Nowadays, that shit don't happen. Motherfuckers come out shooting. Back in the days where motherfucking, the women that I was fucking with, they might have had perms, but they wasn't wearing no weaves and shit like that. Their asses was fat. They ain't had no BBL. You have to worry about fake this, fake that, all the rest of that shit. Matter of fact, when I was in high school, I remember motherfuckers used to get joked on when they was wearing weaves. Like, yo, you got a weave in your hair? Why you can't wear your real hair? Yeah, I know y'all. I know this is gonna be very controversial, but I'm gonna say it for all my hood niggas. It is what it is. But back in the days, you can get you some pussy for free. All you had to do was to get the gab. Wasn't no broad when you take the broad out. Wasn't no broad talking about you gotta buy me a Birkin bag and all the rest of that shit. Nah, you have a good time with the broad and she decided she want to give up the pussy, then she give it up. Back in the days when you could take the broad to Applebee's. Shit, I remember when Cheesecake Factory came up. So to hear these women say, "Oh, don't let no man take you to Cheesecake Factory." At one point in time, Cheesecake Factory was popping. I could go on with this, man. I could go on with this. Back in the days, we used to pull up this is my word, I'm not even lying. Like Poetic Justice, the scene with Tupac and Janet Jackson, all of them, they stopped at a cookout and they were like, yeah, I'm cousin such and such and such. You ain't had to do none of that shit. If it was somebody having a fucking a picnic or a cookout or some shit like that, I say cookout in a park, and you ain't know them, they'd be like, yo, and they were black, they'd be like, yo, come over and get a plate. What's your name? People be friendly as shit. That's another thing. Black people were so friendly. So welcoming. You fuck around and be over. You know how many times I've been over a friend's house? You know what I'm saying? Just chilling, playing video games or some shit like that. And he'd be like, yo, man, my mom said, do you want to play? And I'd be like, nah, not really. Because my mom's taught me, yo, you know, to respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, don't be going over there trying to eat everybody's shit up. Shit just be crazy, man. Shit be crazy, man. And the little children and shit like that, they used to play outside and shit like that. And us dudes, you know what I'm saying, the teens and like early 20s or whatever, we see somebody drive by us or look at them kids or do something to them kids, we ready to fuck them up. We don't care whether they related to us or not. All of the shit that I'm just telling you right now, this is the reason why I go hard in the paint for black people. This is the reason why I make these videos. Because I remember how black people used to be. And now they not like that anymore. And this shit pissed me the fuck off. Straight up. Pissed me off, man. And I know that there's reasons behind it. I know that there's reasons behind it. I mean, we could go on and on and on and how the black community or overall black race has been attacked throughout all these years. And it took them a long time to break us for good. This is a permanent thing. You never see black people act the way that they act, you know what I'm saying? Like friendly and welcoming and loving towards each other like they did in the 90s, 80s, 70s on down. I understand it. But let me tell you something, even though there's reasons, I don't think that there's any justifiable reason why we gave in. That all we ever had was us. And I don't think that regardless of whatever they threw at us, we should have knocked that shit away. But it hurts, man. It hurts. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my pro-black shit because that's how I was raised, man. Not by my mom. My mom wasn't with that shit. She was all about the church and the Lord and all the rest of that. You know what I'm saying? But in my circle, you know what I'm saying? I hung around, you know what I'm saying? Certain dudes, 5%ers, you know what I'm saying? I became a Nuwaubian. You know what I'm saying? All my friends were either Muslims, 5%ers, you know what I'm saying? Nuwaubians. You know what I'm saying? Well, I probably knew one or two people that was with the Noble Drew Ali. You know what I'm saying? That were the Moors and shit. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Back then, back in the days, it was cool to be smart. It was cool to be intelligent. My friends, shit, people that I knew, friends, motherfuckers was highly intelligent. Just about, excuse me, everybody that I knew, that I fucked with, were talented as a motherfucker. My man Phil, this motherfucker in high school drew Michael Jordan like, you know what I'm saying? Like a real fucking, like he drew that motherfucker. Now you couldn't tell the difference. You put Michael Jordan next to my man's Phil picture that he drew, exactly alike. Straight up. I have friends like that, Ramaya. You know what I'm saying? That's really my man. Like we had a falling out and it's done. It's all, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when we was fucking with each other, man, you know, he was the one that really, it was my aunt and Ramaya, also known as Malik. He's the one who put me on to information and knowledge and shit. He's the one between my aunt and Ramaya. Those two are the ones that got me stop eating pork and all the rest of that shit. My man Ramaya, this motherfucker drew his ass off. And there was boatloads of people that I knew that was just fucking talented. Real talk. Like when I found out, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking at Cartoon Network, I was looking at Black Dynamite, and he did Freaknik, or whatever that shit is, the cartoon that came with T-Pain and all of them, that back in the days, that was on Cartoon Network and all the rest of that shit. And then later on, he went to do other shit. When I found out, who the fuck, Carl Jones, I remember him as Jonah. I remember as Jonah. We used to go out and sell bootleg CDs and shit. When I was homeless for a couple of days, he allowed me, he's the one who took me in and was like, yo, you can sleep in my son's room. We used to look out for one another. When I worked at Harris Teeter for a week, you know what I'm saying? And I found out that goddamn code. If Carl, you listening, you know exactly that what went down with that. I found out that code where it was you can get 50% off and shit on your groceries. They had it like for like a couple of months, and then they deaded it because probably people such as myself. I found out the code because you had to have it. It had to be like it had to be an email that was given to you. You know what I'm saying? Sent to you. But I wind up. One of the ladies wound up slipping that worked there, wound up slipping up while I was working there, telling me the fucking code. And I'm good with numbers, remembering numbers just like that. You can tell me fucking 16-digit code and I remember that shit. You tell it to me one time, right? Man, shit. Y'all went up there, $200 worth of groceries. That nigga only paid for like $50 for the shit. Cause I put the code in like 2-3 times or whatever and got the balance down to $50. All my friends came through the damn line. And that's another thing too. All of us had hustles and shit. In the hood. I miss the hood. I miss the good part of the hood. You know what I'm saying? And black people shut their fucking mouth. So if you needed motherfucking bootleg CDs, bootleg movies, I got you. You know how much shit I got in the hood with a barter exchange? Oh shit, you need some bootleg movies and CDs? I bet. What you selling? Oh, you got socks, underwear, and deodorant? Oh, my word, that's my word. Let me get this and that and so forth. The only thing, there was only one law when you was doing that type of shit in the hood. And that was, don't you ever ask niggas where they got their shit from. I bought leather jackets in the hood. I can't tell you how much shit I bought in the hood. Straight up. Can't tell you. Can't even tell you. When I was drinking back in the days, you know what I'm saying? We go to the juke joints. You know what I'm saying? The little liquor joints, you know what I'm saying? An old lady used to, it was always an old lady. I don't know why. It was an old lady being there selling fucking, she be selling, you could go after the club, before the club, you can go in it, go to her joint, get liquor cheap. You know what I'm saying? Get your shots and drink all of that drink and shit like that. And she was selling plates. And even if, you know what I'm saying, you didn't go to the club, you could just hang out on a Sunday night. Play cards, all that shit. Come on, man. Come on, man. I lived the life. I'm telling you, when I tell you I lived the fucking life, I got the black experience. And I miss it. I miss that shit. And I know y'all can tell. For real. I mean, I feel so fucking alone in this motherfucking society, man. For real, because these black people out here, man, they something different. Real talk. And I shut the fuck down. I don't say shit. Black people come up to me and say certain things. I mean, like, man, I be sizing the niggas up like, yo, what the fuck? Shit was beautiful back in the days. It wasn't perfect. Far from that. I'm going to reiterate that shit. Shit wasn't perfect. Niggas was still getting shot and killed, motherfuckers, all that. You know what I'm saying? But it was totally different. You know what I'm saying? It was totally different. Gas was not expensive. Gas was like $1.18 or some shit. Food prices wasn't expensive. Man, please, man. Please. You know what I'm saying? And whatever was expensive, you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker, you get that shit dirt cheap in the hood. Like I said, the only rule that we had in the hood and shit is you don't ask a motherfucker where they got the shit from. Other than that, yo, you got PlayStation games? Y'all remember this man, and this is not, I'm not even telling myself because this was perfectly legal. I remember my man, I'm not gonna mention his name or whatever, I'm just gonna give you the story. So my man, New York, motherfucker had to connect, right? So it was this warehouse or whatever have you, and so I don't know if y'all familiar with how clothes work, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'll put it to you like this, like stores and how stores buy clothes and stuff like that to, you know, fill in their, you know, their clothing store or whatever. So anyway, it was this dude that I knew. They used to give out sample clothes, right, to these stores. So the sample clothes were legit. You know what I'm saying? Like Rockaway Kids, Granimals, they had kid clothes just as well as adult clothes, right? So for the sample clothes, in order for the merchant not to sell the sample clothes, they would cut a little snippet on the leg, on the shirt, or they'll stamp sample on the shirt, on the leg, whatever it was, whatever clothing it was, right? So my man was like, yo man, listen, I got boxes of this shit, of sample clothes or whatever. You could have it. You know what I'm saying? You could, you know, you do what you want to do. Why that motherfucker tell me that shit? I was living in Greensboro at the time. Why the man tell me that? I said, yo, just send it down. Motherfuckers was sending, I'm not lying. This lasted for about 4 months. Motherfucker, this nigga was sending sample clothes like every week. I'm talking about 3 big ass boxes. I took that shit to the hood, dumped that shit. Straight up, I made some good money off of that shit. And the people in the hood was like, man, fuck that. I had yo, for real, I used to set up in front of this gas station in the hood, right? Right across the street from I think it was Florida Projects. I can't remember. It was off of what was that? Right, not too far from the Coliseum. Right? They probably busted them things down by now, you know what I'm saying? But it was some projects that was over there. I forgot the name of them, right? But it was this gas station right across the street. And the man, you know, they let me set up in front of the shit. I sell my bootleg movies, my CDs. I had that shit all hooked up. I had boxes of sample clothes and shit like that. Motherfuckers was mine. And niggas was like, man, I don't give a fuck about that. I could go home and wash that shit out. Or the little snippet on the shirt, or on it wasn't even like a large cut, a large hole. They were like, yo, I could just, you know what I'm saying, sew that shit up. Man, please, man, I could go on with this shit. That store, man, you could get, please. I'm not going to incriminate myself. Well, I sold a lot of shit in that area. Yo, I'm telling you, Friday, Saturday night, man, you can get all the above in that fucking store. Motherfuckers out there doing their thing, selling that hard. You know, I wasn't into that shit. You know what I'm saying? But man, I got stories that it's just not fun anymore, man. It's not fun. It's not fun. And don't get it twisted. I know I'm older. You know what I'm saying? I don't supposed to do some of the stuff that I mentioned. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I'm talking about the love, man. I'm talking about the love. You know what I'm saying? Like I like there are times like when I pull up in my community and I be hearing like you know that, you know, black music, that old school music and shit, and sometimes I be wanting to like pull up, and I'm like, nah, that ain't a good look. That ain't no good look. You want to get shot. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers like, who the fuck are you? What you doing here? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I do want to pull up and be like, yo man, you know I don't know y'all. Like, but you could do that back in the days. I know I don't know y'all and everything, you know, but I heard some music playing. Y'all was playing Before I Let Go. Before I Let Go. You know what I'm saying? And I want to thank you, Heavenly Father. Y'all was playing that shit. I was smelling the food. I'm like, yo, I'm just asking, like, can I get a plate? Like, listen, I'll go get the ice. I'll get whatever y'all want. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers be like, sure. But nowadays, motherfuckers be like, man, we don't know you. Get out of here. Yeah, man. I talk my shit. Man. But you could tell there's some emotion behind it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't talking about no I get so emotional tour at Whitney Houston 88 concert type shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's some emotion back, you know, behind my words, for real. You know what I'm saying? And I just missed it, man. I miss family. I miss my blood family, and I miss like the the black family, you know, the black race, you know what I'm saying? Where, man, shit, you could go just about anywhere back in the days and get that love. And now you can't get it because these black motherfuckers are different. And that's real talk. But yeah, man, that's the way. That's the reason why I'm the way I am. Other than that, I'm out.